Hello guys, hope you had a good weekend. Before we start this video, a large thank you to 2211, Josh Mayer, Pavo, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, my man, thank you for the support, Nathaniel, Fallen Sand, Jason, Rob T 1982, a name I unfortunately cannot pronounce, thank you for the support, my friend, Piotr, and Terrence for their support on Patreon. Thank you guys, I hope you enjoy the video. Hello guys, hope you had a good weekend. So today we're going to cover patrol paths. So we have this character here now. Right now he just stands, but I want to make him walk around the outside of this little arena here. So I'm going to put him right back here in the corner first. And I'm going to make an empty game object. I'm going to reset the position, and I'm going to call this patrol paths. And this will just be the parent that handles all the patrol paths in the scene. I'm going to create another empty game object, and I will call this patrol path or patrol path 1. So whatever you want to do. And then inside this is the main part that's important, we're going to populate this with places we want the patrolling enemy to go. So I'm going to call this one patrol checkpoint, and I'm going to put brackets and say 0, because I think if I duplicate it then the next one, yes, it will be called 1. Alright, so I'm going to drag this into the location that I want. So I want them to go around the corners of this little room, kind of like a box. And keep in mind the order that you do this is important, so make sure you create these in the order you want your enemy to navigate them, or your AI, whenever a character is using them. So I'm going to put the first one here right up in the top right corner. Actually, I've made a few. Honestly, I just need to make 4, really, so I can just delete a couple of these. Let's put this one up here. And then I'm going to duplicate this one and move it over here. And then duplicate another one and move it down into this corner, all the way down here. And then duplicate this one and bring it back to the start. That way he ends at the start. You could technically end over there if you wanted to, but I want mine to complete a full little loop, almost. Alright, that looks nice. It's going to check over here now and kind of go through them all. I'm going to go down here and create a new script. I'm going to call this patrol state. Now, the logic here can be used on any of your enemy states if you're following the series. So the humanoid, which is the AI that behave more like a player, or the regular AI that behave more like monsters, this will work the same. You can kind of copy the logic throughout. It'll be pretty much identical. We're just moving from one location to another, as long as you're using the animator to move. So let's make this drive from state. Let's make this override. Let's delete this. And now let's start populating the functionality with some logic. So the first thing I want to do is make sure we're not interacting or performing any kind of action. If we are, you should always check this when you're going to a state. We want to make our movement 0 and basically return. Because if we're being attacked or damaged, or we're playing some kind of animation, we don't want to keep moving our character forward or changing the values in the animator. So let's open up some curly brackets here, and then let's say AI character.animator and set the vertical and horizontal to 0 instantaneously. Because this is interacting is only called when we're already in another animation, typically. So just change that to a hard 0. You don't need to do a buffer over 0.2 seconds, just a hard 0. Okay, that looks good. Now, that's the check out of the way. What is next? There's a few things we need to check. We're going to make a few values. And I'm going to say this before I start typing them out, too. I make a lot of these variables public when they don't need to be. I'm only doing that because this is a tutorial series and I'm demonstrating functionality, not so much the whole the process of doing everything perfectly. I just want to kind of illustrate concepts and show you different ways to do things. So a lot of these times I'm making these variables. I know I say it all the time. I make them public. You should make them public. If you want to see them in the inspector, just use serialized fields. Otherwise, you can change them from places you shouldn't be able to change them from. So I'm going to start off by saying if AI character.currentTarget does not equal null, we want to return our pursue target state. I'm sure, obviously, a lot of you guys already know that. If you're this far into the series, I'm sure a lot of you are very adept. But it's easiest to make things public when you don't need to. So you should just be using serialized field. But since I'm so far into this tutorial series, and again, we're just kind of demonstrating concepts, I'm just going to use public for now. In the future, I'm going to, in every other tutorial series, actually, I'm going to be really hard on that, even when I'm just doing concepts, because I feel like it's good to instill those things in people who are newer at the very beginning. And that is something I definitely should have done. So, public, pursue, target, state, humanoid. And if the target is not null, we want to make sure we're returning our pursue target state humanoid. Why are we doing this? Because, well, if we find a target while we're on our patrol state, we want to instantly leave the patrol state and go to the pursue target state. All right, next, we need to put in another variable, again, bool, and I'm going to call this patrol complete. And this is just going to signify if we've done all the points in the patrol and it is over. Right below that, let's also put down a bool for repeat patrol. And if we have this checked, obviously, we'll just repeat the patrol once it comes to an end. All right, so we still need a few more things. Below that, let's make a float for end of patrol reset timer. And I'm going to make an additional float again. Actually, I'm just going to put a comment here first. How long before the next patrol begins if you're repeating. So you can make a rest point at the end for, say, 5 to 10 seconds, and they'll kind of just stand there idly. And then we're going to make a bool below that too for has patrol destination. That means we have a point to go to in our list of patrols. If we run out of points, we know it's over. And we're going to make an int for the index because we're going to be using a list. So what point we're at in the list. And put a header here too. Just call this patrol rest time. And I'm going to put a header here and call this patrol position. And then right down below here, I'll make a public transform. This will be for the current position that we have. So I'll call this current patrol destination. So what point in the list of points are we currently heading towards? And then public float distance from current patrol point. How far away are we from getting to our next point? And then a list of transforms for our current list of patrol points. So this is just, again, the list that we made earlier in the scene. That is a just list of patrol paths. And it's going to iterate through these transforms one by one and just make the AI character walk towards them. And it will do it in the order that you place them in the list. That will be the end product of this. So we're going to say if the patrol is complete, and we're going to repeat it. We're just going to start off, because the order of this is relatively important. So we'll start with this. This is just basically saying if we've repeated, or if we've completed our patrol, and we want to repeat it, then what we need to do is reset all of our patrol flags. So every bit of information that we have, we want to reset it. So for example, we're going to say, well, we need to actually adjust the timer as well. So we'll do that first. If the end of patrol reset timer is greater than, we need to make another float here for this timer. So I'm actually going to rename one of these variables too. Let's rename this to end of patrol reset time. So how long it takes to begin the next patrol. And we actually need to make the timer itself. So I'll call this end of patrol. We just call it end of patrol timer. If you want to, just call it timer, honestly. Just know this is the thing that's going to be counting, and the one above it is the default time it will take before it's finished. So if the end of patrol rest time is greater than the end of patrol timer, then what we want to do is basically say AI character.animator set float vertical to 0 by 0.2 seconds over time.delta time. And then we want to say end of patrol timer is equal to end of patrol timer plus time dot delta time. Then we're going to say return this. Now, if the timer has elapsed this time and we're finished, you can count up or down also. It really doesn't matter. Sometimes I do down, sometimes I do up. I don't really know why I changed that. I guess I don't really think about it all too much. But anyway, if the end of patrol timer is less than or equal to the end of patrol time, reset time, then we want to say patrol destination index equals -1. That resets it to an index outside of the total list. And then we're going to say has patrol destination equals false. We do not have destination, and our current patrol destination is equal to null. So we null out the transform. We say we do not have a place to go. We say patrol complete equals false, and we reset our index to -1, so it will be outside of the list. And then we reset our end of patrol timer to 0. So the timer that counts to the elapsed time, we set that to 0. I'm just going to make a note here too. We count down or up our rest time and reset all of our patrol flags. So now below that, that's if we're going to repeat it, we reset all those things. If not, then it won't run that code. So then we're going to say if we have a patrol destination, then we're going to say if our current patrol destination does not equal null, that's just a null check, just in case something happens and for some reason it is non-existent. We want to move towards it. So let's make a float up here for distance. Oh, I actually already have that. Never mind. Let's say distance from current patrol point is equal to vector3.distance. We got to measure the distance between our current character and how far away we are from the point we want to get to. And we want to basically know I'm going to use 1 for my example because I feel like that's a fair unit of measurement for being close enough to a point. So we're going to simply say if distance from the current patrol point is greater than 1, we want to basically move towards it. Sorry if you just heard a loud bang. I think something dropped in my house. We're going to say AI character.navMeshAgent.enabled is equal to true, just in case we shut it off, because we do shut it off on some functionality or else we get weird behaviors. And since we're going to turn it back on here, let's turn it off when our patrol is done. So I'm going to say else if we're not going to repeat our patrol and the patrol is complete, then we want to say AI character.navMeshAgent.enabled equals false. Okay, so back down here now. Let's go right below this. Let's say AI character.navMeshAgent dot set dot destination, not set destination, dot destination is equal to current patrol destination dot transform dot position. Now we're going to do the same thing we do with maneuvering with our AI when we try to follow the player. We're just going to take the rotation of the navmesh agent. So we're going to say quaternion target rotation equals quaternion.lerp between our regular rotation right now and the AI's navmesh agent rotation. And then we're going to say by a time of, I'm going to say 0.5. You can play around with that if you want. The time, I mean. And then we're just going to say AI character dot transform dot rotation is equal to target rotation. So we're basically copying the rotation from our navmesh agent to our player's object, because we're moving with our animator, as you know by now, I'm sure. And we're going to say AI character dot animator dot set float, and we're going to set the vertical to 0.5 f as in walking speed over a time of 0.2 f by time dot delta time. So if you want to set it to 1, you can, but then they'd be running around, which would look kind of odd for a patrol, but you could do that. It will work the same way. Okay, now that that's good, now let's actually iterate our list, because we're never going to have a destination at this point. So if we don't have a destination, we're going to say else, or rather, sorry, if we're less than 1 tile away, we want to make this else statement. Our current patrol destination equals false, and has destination equals false. All right, now right below this, let's say if has patrol destination, or does not have patrol destination, sorry. We want to make it so we do have one. We're going to say patrol destination index equals patrol destination index plus 1. And you saw that when we reset the patrol, it goes to -1, so this will bring it back to 0. If it's already at 1, it'll go to 2, and so on and so on. Then we're going to say if patrol destination index is greater than the list of patrol destinations dot count -1, we're going to say patrol complete is equal to true. Then we're going to say return this. Okay, so we're going to say current patrol destination equals list of patrol destinations and then pass our index. That'll bring in the next point. Then we're going to say has patrol destination equals true. Right at the bottom, we're just going to say return this. And I'm just going to scroll back up and check this real quick. Okay, it looks good. So we need to do a couple other things. I'm just going to go into Unity here now first real quick. I had to close out some of these projects. Got too much happening right now. Let's go back into the patrol state, and what I'm going to do is, this is the right script. I'm going to rename this to patrol state humanoid, just because I'm going to be using this with the humanoid AI for the demonstration. I want to keep all the naming conventions the same. I'm sure you know how I am with that by this point in time. All right, let's go back into the project real quick. I'm going to open up the idle state humanoid. I'm going to copy the functionality inside this tick. This is just for locating a target, because this is the default idle state. So copy everything inside tick, and we're going to make a new function on patrol state. I'm going to call it private void. We can just say find target, search for target, whatever you want to call it. I'm going to call it search for target whilst patrolling. And let's paste all that in there. You're going to need to pass the AI character variable, or else you're going to get some errors. Unity's going to complain to you. And then you want to remove everywhere it says return this. Just erase it so it says return. And also don't forget to copy your detection layer and layers that block line of sight. That's important. You want to make sure your AI can't see your character through walls, and you want to make sure you're only looking on the layer of characters so you're not wasting memory. So yeah, return this, just return, because we're not returning a state here. We're just calling this function within a state. So you can return. Okay, so let's go back up here, and right at the top, you want to put this at the very beginning. We always want to be searching for a target no matter what when we're in the state. So search for target whilst patrolling, AI character, save. Now we are almost done. We have a few more things to do if we didn't make any mistakes, but I probably made a few mistakes. We'll see. I'm a little bit frazzled today. So, all right, add a component, patrol state humanoid. Go back over. I'm going to unpack my prefab. And the reason being I want to drag this patrol state right to the top because then I can drag it in the inspector and that will be the default state. I'm going to set my layers here. And obviously you can set the patrol state at whatever you want. If you want to call it at start, if you want to loop back to it after the AI loses their target, whatever way you want to do it. I just want to show you the functionality of how patrol works. So let's go into the Visual Studios again, and I'm make this list public because the one thing I needed to make public, I forgot to make public. And I'm going to populate the list here, and I'm going to lock the inspector and drag in all of my patrol points. Make sure they're in order. That is very important. So as you can see, I have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. That is important. All right, I am going to go to the enemy game object now and unlock the inspector and then drag in the states game object, which will make my patrol state the current state because it is first on the list of components there, state-wise. Okay, mistake 1 right here. Copy this else, delete it, and put it right after the if statement for if distance from current patrol point is greater than 1. Else, we want to make sure our current patrol destination is null and has patrol destination as false, so we get a new one. I had it in the wrong place. I put it outside that if statement. That would make the AI just walk in the same place. Easy to mess up for sure. So go into the game, press play, and let's go to scene view so we can see our AI, and he should be walking to the next point. And yes, he is. Let's make sure he gets to the second point, okay? So right now he's going towards number 1, and then after that he should take the turn and go towards number 2. So here we go. Yes, excellent. Okay, cool. All right, so now he's going towards point 2. I'm just going to watch him for a minute longer and make sure nothing scuffs up. I want to make sure he makes it all the way around. And then we're going to see if we can get his attention during the state, and we want to make sure the state is repeating. So I'm going to run inside here now, and I'm going to go within his field of view. He should see me. Okay, he's not doing anything. I feel like he's seen me, though. Let's click on him and see what's up. Yeah, okay, so scroll down. Okay, he has me as a target. I'm going to guess we forgot to drag the state in the inspector because I am a target. Yes, we did. Okay, so drag in the pursue enemy target state. Otherwise, he can't actually pursue us. And I'm going to change the end of patrol reset time to 5 seconds, and I'm going to check repeat patrol. All right, so I'm here at the end again here now, and I'm going to see if he comes around and repeats this patrol. Let's make sure this is all working, because this is the last point. I have it checked. So he's coming to the finish line. He should be done right now. Yes. Okay, and then timer counts up. 3, 4, 5, and he's not doing anything. Okay, so we made a mistake somewhere. Let's go back check. Or I made a mistake. Yeah, here we go. So this should be greater than or equals to end of patrol reset time. So if end of patrol reset time is greater than end of patrol timer, and if this is greater or equal than end of patrol reset time. And also let's make our movement 0 here when the patrol is over if we're not repeating it. Otherwise you'll keep walking into a wall. Okay, so let's try it again. I just have a short path here, 0, 1, and then back to where we started. So I actually don't need that one. I just need 2 points. So I'm just going to delete this real quick, drag that in. So I have this point right here, and then a point right here. I'm just going to test this really fast so I make sure the state is repeating fine, and then I can test it again with the full room. Let's go over to the enemy states on check repeat, check repeat patrol. Whoops, I forgot to do something. That's my bad. 1 sec. I started the state off at index 0. Make sure you start off at -1 so it goes up and checks the next index. So there we go. 0. He's starting instantly. Good. And now he should get to this point. And then he should turn around. Yes. And now because I don't have repeat patrol checked, he should stop. Excellent. Okay, so this number continues to go up. It's working, though. I don't like that, so we're going to change that. I think it's because I forgot to return. I'm going to click repeat patrol first, though, and see if he repeats the patrol. The index still goes up, though, yes. Okay, so cool. That works, too. All right, so he does repeat the patrol, and he doesn't repeat the patrol if we stop. But let's fix that that index climbing endlessly if I stop the patrol. So if I don't click repeat here and he stops, you can see the patrol index is just infinitely climbing. I know why, though. It's because we're never returning if we're not repeating the patrol, and we have stopped. So I'll show you what I mean. It's one line of code. It's actually a single statement. So right here, if the patrol has completed and we're not repeating, just type return this. Nothing further needs to be done. If we go into the game now and he stops, he will stop and the number does not go up infinitely. Okay, now for the big test. Let's go and populate the room with the patrol points again, and let's see if we can get his attention during the patrol. I have that done. I will press play, and I'm going to run in at him, and he should see me when he rounds the corner and break the patrol. Let's just let him walk by here. All right, now I'm going to run to meet him. And yep, okay, excellent, awesome. So he sees me, breaks the patrol, and enters the pursuit target state. All right, guys, so there you go. Now you have a way to pursue targets with your AI. It will add a lot of life to the map, I find. Not having people just stand around everywhere, much, much better. If this did help you, be sure to drop a like and leave a comment. It does genuinely help out the series so much. And a large thank you, as always, to my Patrons. It is because of you guys I get to keep doing this, and I really love to do this. So I will see you guys next episode. We're going to polish our AI some more, and then we're going to get into game state saving, which is something I know a lot of you want to cover. We're going to do it with I'm going to show you how to set up multiple save profiles like Souls. I have 10 in my other project, but we'll go over that, and we'll get into things like item databases and loading and unloading items on the map if you have picked them up or you haven't picked them up. We'll go over all that stuff. So I'd say saving will be at least 4 or 5 videos. It could be less, though. I could cover it in concept and go through it quicker. Anyway, I digress. I will see you guys in the next one.